Martha's words. Thank you to the media. Welcome. We really appreciate the time and effort you make to be here with us. Today was an interesting day. I think it's been going on for a couple of months now for us at league level. Obviously this year, an element of international pre-signing, but also the first time that our local players went into a +1 contract. So it was interesting to see initially how many players were retained or released and traded within that first part of our window. Obviously set up an auction with 13 places available and 6 rookies. I think the rookie element has been a lovely value add in terms of the pathway and opportunities. We saw a lot of rookies get retained in the initial squads this year, which we were happy about. As I said in my speech, to receive initially 580 odd applications to be a part of the auction for just 13 slots was something that we saw as a positive, that people would like to be a part of the league. And I think, maybe to wrap my thoughts up initially before questions open, I think that all 6 squads look very strong. I think, from a league perspective, we would like to see all 6 squads strong and very competitive. Last year, going down to the final weekend before the playoff stages were figured out is something that, I guess at central level is something we get very excited about. So a nice mix of really talented South Africans, quality South Africans, and some superb names from around the world will join us for season 3.
Any questions for Graeme?
Graeme, just talk about the rookies. How important are they in the draft, considering to look at the broader spectrum of South African cricket, having the rookies coming through and just showcasing their skills?
Yeah, I think if you look at the squads in general now, there's a number of young players across the board. As I said, some of the rookies last season were retained, some really good stories, and we've seen now in the domestic competition some of those players really start the season well. We tried to tease the 6 teams a little bit with a couple of rookies in the first major sets. But in the end, I think 6 really good rookies and names that have real potential, which is great. They'll get the opportunity now against some of the best players in the world, both to learn from and to play against.
Graeme, I think you set yourself the goal to become the second best T20 tournament in the world after the IPL a couple of years ago, and you've run 2 very successful editions of your tournament. What do you need to do to set yourselves apart from the chasing pack behind the IPL?
Yeah, it is a complex question because there's so many moving parts to that answer. But I think initially, as a cricket competition, what we want to see is the South African talent in particular get stronger and stronger every year. We've seen the success of the IPL, the number of players that have the talent to be picked and challenging for places for India. I think we saw that progression go upwards last year. The likes of Otniel Bartman coming through that maybe wasn't thereabouts, had a great World Cup, and we're starting to see a few of those players come through the tournament. So I think that's important to us, being able to attract the top names in the game. We know that there's challenges always with building our league against others and FTPs, but I think this year you're starting to see out and out quality cricketers come, and that starts to separate us from that exhibition style 20 over competition. We set out as well to revive the fan in South Africa and to introduce new fans to the game, and I think 2 years in a row to be able to do that. Close to 380,000 people through our gates in 34 games both years. And then our global numbers and our digital numbers are telling us, when we look at the viewership data and our digital data, it really does stand out against any other league. So those are highlights, and for us it's now about how do we grow and how do we establish the good things even more.
Any more questions for Graeme? Justin?
Graeme, just sticking to the fan engagement and the work that you guys have to do as a league to ensure that fans keep on coming back, how big of a focus is it, and what kind of work do you guys do behind the scenes to ensure that does happen?
Yeah, look, I think for us there's learnings every year, but we engage with fans a lot in terms of how their experiences are in our stadiums. What do they enjoy? What are the successful things? Where can we learn? So the fan data and that type of reporting is crucial for how we plan for the next season. We tried to build the event that anyone can come into our stadium on a Monday and a Tuesday or Saturday and a Sunday and have a great time with your family, a student, a cricket lover or not. And I think that that's something that we've been able to do really successfully. I think for us, there's always that paranoia. If I think about season 1, the last sold out domestic game in South Africa was in the 90s. So, the fact that we were able to sell out, 10, 11, 12 over the season last year is truly exciting, and we would love to grow that. We can't do it without the support of the fans. Ticketing, price of ticketing, and the experience that we offer fans, I think, is something that is special and is a great value for people that want to join us.
Graeme, you spoke about the innovation with POM Inside. I mean, what can the fans or the people who will be coming to the stadium, what can they be looking forward to? I mean, any insights that the fans can be looking forward to this coming season?
Well, I mean, besides the incredible cricket talent, I think I don't think South African cricket has seen an event where you're going to have so much quality in a 2-month period. If you just think about the contests inside these 6 teams and what's going to unfold around the country, I think that is just something that's unmatched. Even in our first 2 seasons, I think this quality of the squads going into season 3 and the matchups and the talent and the quality is unmatched in the first 2 seasons. So for us, if you've come to our stadiums, there's a lot of colour, there's a lot of fun for kids, there's entertainment. We built DJ stands. It is a lot happening inside that stadium, and it's been great. I mean, I think the other point that is really valuable to make is how fast the fan bases have grown in each of the centres. I always make a point of travelling around to each of the opening games in the season, and you arrive in PE and it's orange, and it's yellow in Joburg, and so on. To see the fan bases really start to attach to their teams as something that's it surprised me. I thought that would take a few years, but that has really grown at pace, and I think our franchises are unbelievable at activating fans and creating that loyalty really quickly.
Thank you. Just last one for Graeme, and we'll open it up to the rest of the coaches.
Graeme, you're obviously competing with different leagues around the world, but to get someone like Ben Stokes coming to the Betway set when you've got Dennis Carter, your first Indian player, has that shown the growth of the league over the last 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, we do travel around. I mean, I certainly IPL, World Cups, various other things, and people talk, and players are starting to say that that's the place. Obviously South Africa is a great place to come. It's summer, and seeing the fans and the vibes and the atmosphere. But cricketers also want to challenge themselves, and creating an event where the best can come and compete and do well is something that we wanted to do. And the talk is that players want to be here. For us, the challenge of building up against other leagues was something we took on straight away, and now we've seen the progression of that talent go from strength to strength. As you say, a lot of great. I mean, it's always difficult for me to talk about individual teams and players, but as you say, you've mentioned a few of them. I think about Kane Williamson coming across now. Devon Conway is a good story, Bairstow, and the likes. Gurbaz. It's just a nice mix of really classy international talent from all many parts around the world.